CC English Department AI Committee, and it's been an up and down ride since that's the nature of AI right now. We have decided we will alternate in sharing our screens. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody right now. Please let me know that I'm doing this successfully. Do we see my screen?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, great, fabulous. All right, so um, what we decided we needed to do was just share some of the things that we've been talking about in our committee. It's very, very tough to say, like, nail down some concrete things about AI just because it's changing constantly. I have changed my classroom policy pretty much every single semester for the past year, 2 years, just sort of experimenting, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. So, um, first of all, uh, our team, and this is the order we're going to go in, is that Dr. Ashley Fontenot-Bellard will start us off, and then we have Rosalinda Izguera and Alex Schweiger, and then me, Mary Song. We're each going to share our classroom takes. So hopefully this just sort of helps kick off a conversation. We really just wanted to open up some ideas and have us sort of share our thoughts on this whole thing. So Q&A, vital. We are very much wanting to hear what y'all have to say. So at the top left corner, you see an icon for the chat box. Go ahead and type in your questions as we present so that we can you know, address any of those questions at the end when we should have about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe more. I tend to talk real fast in my presentations. So we just would love to have that conversation. All right, so that with that said, let me go ahead and let Dr. Fachno Bayard go ahead and take over this. Do I have to untake over? And how about this? I'm just going to end it. There we go.
Okay. Hi guys, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me share with you my Can you see the presentation? Great.
Yes.
So good morning, guys. My name is Dr. Ashley Fontenot-Bellard. I am, everything's good, guys? Okay. I am a college English instructor. I have been teaching with Alvin Community College for about 5 years. I feel like English teaching, I've done it for about, I guess, what, 13 or 14 years now. So I've been doing this for a very long time. Uh, More recently, obviously, we've come up to artificial intelligence, AI, and I really think, guys, it's going to change how we communicate. My I want to get us started. This is a guy that I follow, and I really liked his take on AI. So I put in a simple or short little video clip from him. Let's take a look. We can hear the volume.
Can
Hey,
we
Can we
Ashley,
not
when
hear
you
the
share,
volume?
no, Ashley, when you share your screen, you have to turn the sound on.
Okay, so let's do this. So I'm sharing the screen. So now what do I do, Brian?
So unshare your screen and then
Oh,
reshare it. But before you share your screen, there's a toggle option that says include sound.
ah,
It's one of those weird things.
okay, I see it. All right, here we go.
Bingo.
Thanks, Brian.
Is it running? I don't see anything.
I think she's trying to reshare her screen again, right, Ashley?
Oh, we're okay. No, okay, hold on.
Yeah, so when you
I did
reshare,
share and it didn't. Okay,
yeah, so when you reshare it, yeah, you just gotta click again. That's all. Ah,
okay, sorry.
all good.
Okay, can you see it now? Okay,
Yes.
all right. Please let me know with a thumbs up that we can hear the sound.
I think we have to be realistic about technology. Technology is
Yes.
not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's like money is not a good thing or a bad thing. It's how we use it. And there must be balance. All technologies that we're talking about can support relationships, but they can't replace them. It's like when Facebook became a thing. You know, it doesn't replace the relationship, but allows us to maintain relationships internationally, for example, or stay up to date with what friends are doing when we don't talk to them every day. But if we only rely on digital relationships, then we actually increase loneliness. And so AI and those new technologies are the same. We have to be open about it, that we're using these things for transactional things. If you need something transactional, the AI can help you. But both of us, I'm sure, would hate to interact with AI when we're struggling, when we're worried, when we're scared. Then I need a human being who has empathy for me. Even if the AI says the same things, I need a person to feel what I'm feeling. And that's what creates trust. So I think technology and the rise of AI is perfectly legitimate for day to day, and make time so that we have more time to actually build deep, meaningful relationships. Some jobs will be erased, of course, but new jobs will emerge as well. I mean, we talk now, technologists love to talk about how 80% of the jobs that exist today didn't exist 30 years ago. Well, it'll be the same. I think a good analogy is travel agents. You know, when the rise of Wikipedia and Travelocity and online booking, everybody predicted that travel agents would be dead and we have no use for them anymore. Turns out there's tons of demand for travel agents. They call themselves travel advisors now because people want a human relationship to help them book a trip and who understand their family, not simply just buy tickets. It's the same thing. You know, technology allows somebody to just trade stocks or buy bonds if they want, but not somebody who can understand and help them manage a complicated system, especially when we're not sophisticated financial people ourselves. Very, very sophisticated people like to do it themselves, but most of us aren't like that. So I think the human relationship is here to stay.
Okay, guys. So that was, goodness, here we go again. Okay, so that was Simon Sinek's take on artificial intelligence. Are we not able to see what's going on, guys? Let's see.
We see it. We're good.
We can see
Okay,
you.
that's opposite. Okay, I got worried. I didn't. Presentation. Okay, so I want to start by saying, okay, we all remember these terms. The use of calculators is not allowed on this exam. We know now that students not only use calculators, but you need to bring the calculator to class so that you can figure out how to use those calculators. And not only that, use them on the test and for all this other stuff that you need. Another one is your textbook must be brought to class each day. I remember I was still in the age of carrying around the backpack with, 4 or 5 big textbooks in them, and being just weighed down all day by that. And another one is Wikipedia is not a source. And while we actually do not want students to cite Wikipedia in their essay. We do know that Wikipedia is the first stop for a lot of people when we're just obviously just looking up something quick on the internet. And just like AI or just like ChatGPT, you can use Wikipedia. You just have to know how to use it responsibly. Obviously, you find your footnote in your Wikipedia article that you've looked up. You go down to the bottom and it has a list of references where you can find where they got their information from. And I tell students, okay, go to that article, look at the reference, do the fact checking. Can you find an article? Does it have a title? See who the author is, look up their credentials. So then you're actually going through the steps of not only teaching them how to look for credibility in a source, but and just kind of vet their source information. Okay, so I am kind of going to focus not so much on, let's not use AI. I'm going to look at universities that I found that are using it already. They have this nailed down. And it's almost like, guys, us having this conversation today, it's almost like we're already behind. Because if we haven't put in place the stuff that we need to have for using artificial intelligence intelligently at our college, we're behind. So this is straight from Arizona State University. So this is how they have chosen to address artificial intelligence in their course. So of course they have it all through the dean's office. They have their set of principles, and along with that, they have their academic integrity policy. And so I think definitely that plays hand in hand with what the college stands for and how they look at using AI. So that's very important that they put that in there. Also, again, and this is one of those things, we found a way, guys. We know the big thing about English is cite your source. So, okay, you use ChatGPT. Great. Cite it. So the same way here, they'll show you how to do APA website or APA citation. There's MLA citation for ChatGPT. There's Chicago. This is an easy Google search, guys. So people are already using it, and not only using it, but saying, hey, I'm citing it. So I'm just letting you know I used it. Next. So here is a more focused scope of that same Arizona State University policy. So for this past year, this is the principles that they've set forward straight. And guys, this is for their College of English. And, I'm a little biased because I am an English professor, but this can be set for any academic subject on how you're going to use it. And I like how they're saying, hey, the tools can be incorporated into your coursework. But you know what? If you don't want to deal with AI and all that stuff, you don't have to. So you have the discretion to say, hey, I'm going to use AI, or say not. Another thing, I think it's very important that you talk with your students about what is permissible and what's not. And that's in reference to each assignment that you give. These tools, great. They're not perfect. But guys, if you all of a sudden, these students are putting out perfect A papers, they're using Shakespeare language, they are not writing better than you. And that is what you have to, there are some students that are well versed and smart, and I'm no knock to them, but we are talking about the regular average students. They're not producing that level of text at these first stages of writing. Okay, so y'all can go through that, but like I said, this is Arizona State University's syllabus language. So this is on the syllabus. The one before that was kind of the policies that they had at the college. This is a closer look at that university's website, where it talks about what is academic integrity. And I think that's important not only for the students taking the class, but it's also important for people that work at the college and the parents maybe that are on the website, and they kind of see, because people don't really even know what integrity a lot of times is anymore. You know, that line has become so blurred with social media and with just all the things we do. Like, so integrity, just making sure that we have a definition of what it is for the institution is an important start to this conversation. So of course, putting that on our college's website is important as well. And I put this in here because, like I was saying, academic integrity, what all does it include? Well, yeah, it includes fairness, honesty, trust, responsibility, and respect. And you know that is the key. And you say, oh, okay, well, I'm just in there and I'm just teaching them English and I'm just teaching them how to write a paper. No, you aren't, guys. And this is with every subject. All of these things that, you know, we've worked on as we've grown up and things like that, you know, and I can't say that we do these 100% all the time, but these are also traits that we are teaching them in class by how we act and how we handle situations. We're teaching them about being honest, being trustworthy, why they should trust what we say. So like I said, again, this was just a visual representation of what academic integrity is and how it's so important for you to implement every day in your class by your actions. Okay, here you go. So like I said, this is also available for all the other citation styles. I'm just biased to MLA, but there are full citation examples and parenthetical citations in text for ChatGPT. Wow, huh? So like I said, if you're not doing this, guys, you're out the loop. We got to do something. Another college, and this is a very obviously a more popular college, Louisiana State University. They are using AI. They got it all on their website, so they know about it. They actually have a whole portion of their website dedicated to AI. Like, this is here. It's going on now. Get on the bus. You are not doing anything, students, in class that we do not know about. So let's not try to act like, oh, you know, this is, well, I'm going to fool the professor. I'm going to do something where maybe they don't think. No, what we need to say is we are doing this. We know about this, and this is how you do it. If we are in the arena of education, we need to be leading this artificial intelligence conversation in that respect. So like I said, this is a snippet from their website, and they have, of course, all these resources for instructors, resources for students, you know, and they're basically giving us what we need. And guys, we can follow this model. They also have an assistant. So, you know, you're a university employee, and, you know, websites are large. They can be especially cumbersome and kind of, you know, hard to navigate at times, right? Where do you gonna exactly? I know even with ACC and it being a smaller college, you know, I struggle sometimes to find stuff exactly what I need. You know, I'm always going to Leah, like, where is this form at? Or how do you do this? So LSU has launched an AI assistant for all university employees. So yes, you have a little, I think they named him, and I probably should have put him on here, but I think they named him Dave, and it's like chatbot bot Dave, and he kind of like he'll just kind of hang out and help you around, and if you have questions about anything, you can kind of just click on him as a know-it-all. So I thought that was kind of cool. So as I'm kind of going out, guys, I want you to think critically about the content that AI produces and knowing that it is going to be essential for the next generation. We should be teaching it today. And this is another big one. You know, a lot of times they say, well, college, is education becoming obsolete? Like, you know, do we really need a college education anymore to really make it or succeed? And that's what that one's saying. You know, a lot of times we feel like educators might avoid talking about topics that could actually might replace us. So, you know, I think, like I said, take back the power. Let's talk about it. Because, you know, once again, students are already thinking about how they can make money and succeed without the cost, the time that college involves. We have to make ourselves relevant again. And I mean, I don't think that we've lost relevance, but I just, you know, I don't want them to have this conversation because they are in my class, you know, like, oh, well, you know, they love to use Steve Jobs as, you know, the example of someone who did not go to college but still made it. And I say, guys, yes, but along with that, there's other things that he had in place for him to make that possible. So, you know, the money being a big thing. And so, guys, you can't say, okay, well, I'm just going to follow that path and not go to school because Steve Jobs did it. I don't think we should go down that conversation. Another, again, this is a snapshot to an article that I also found that talked about ChatGPT and why not talking about it in class is a mistake. You guys can read that. Here is some top AI tools that I found. Y'all guys can take a snap of this with your phone and look at it later, but just some beginner AI tools and some more advanced ones. I just recently went to the TCCTA conference in Houston, Texas, and they were talking about it, guys. And so this was some of the stuff that I got from that. So final tips and takeaways for my session, guys. Okay, AI is neither good or bad. It is how it is used. AI is good for transactional things, but I don't really know if we wanted to talk to somebody about things that we were struggling with and we needed some empathy, if AI would be who we want to go to. If we're going to use AI, let's have some guidelines. And I just point to LSU and Arizona State as a model. And we are at risk already as students thinking that they can get by without the time and the money spent with higher education. So I definitely don't think that we should be afraid of trying new things. Thank you very much. This is my contact information if you would like any more information or would like to follow up. I hope we enjoy the rest of the conference, guys.
Hello, I guess I'm next. I didn't know we were introducing the next person.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just.
Okay. I'm Rosalinda Esguerra. I teach English here. This is my 15th year of teaching at the college level. And I took a little different take on this conference. I'm trying to find my PowerPoint. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. All right, so I know there's a lot of us that are not comfortable with AI just yet, and we want to focus more on how do we keep our assignments where students aren't using AI. So that's what I looked at for this presentation. I'm going to go through each one. Can I? Okay. I'm going to go through each one of these in a little more detail, but I probably won't spend too much time on them on purpose. So is there any way we're allowed to share these PowerPoints? Ryan?
You mean
Yes,
the
ma'am,
PowerPoint in
Yeah, I
total?
think we can share them after
Great.
the
Yeah.
conference.
Awesome. Okay, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
send
make
them
sure in
to me
case
by email, guys. Send them
I
to me
don't
by
go through
email.
everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so first up, journals. Journals have always been really important to me. I've always used them, and last fall I purchased a bunch of journals for my dual enrollment class because I already know that I have to keep them active in order for them to stay engaged in the classroom. So every week we do write a journal, and I always give the prompt just to see how they're thinking, and most often twice in the semester I do ask just how they're feeling. How are they doing today? And I get pages of content from these students. They open up and tell me what's going on in their life, and I always tend to respond to them. So I do collect these journals up and read them and respond to each one. And it does take time, but it's important for me to show them that I do care about what's going on in their life. AI can't do that. It cannot write about a student's life. So it's a little more difficult when you're doing it in online classes, but I do make it happen using the journal in Blackboard. Reflections. Reflections are really great because it's all about what their experiences is or was throughout a writing journey. For us, that's what it is. And so every time they do any assignment for me, I tend to always have a reflection of them letting me know how they felt. This kind of helps because when they're writing about how their journey went in completing the assignment, they tend to be a lot more themselves and focused on the I. And then I compare it to the actual assignment they turned in. Is it the same writing? Can I see any differences? When you're looking at argumentative writing, a way to take it out of the equation is to focus on local issues, on things that are affecting their community. And a lot of times when I give this assignment for argumentative writing, I always use field research, which I'll be talking about in one of the next slides, because this is when they become active with interacting with people. And I think that's really important because AI cannot replicate that. And they do have to show me evidence that they spoke to a person or the poll, images of the poll they completed or whatever it was that they used for field research. Another thing to consider is when you're considering research projects, focus only on primary sources. When you're using primary sources, AI can't replicate that. It can help with secondary sources, but it doesn't do a good job with primary sources. So it's important that they're using photos and describing photos and things like that when you're considering a research project. And also, as I said, field research. Field research is a great way to get students involved in the research strategies. And also, when they get to university, they are going to be required to do that. So it's good that I make them do it in 1302 for their argumentative essay, so they get an experience with it and they realize that what they're doing and their interaction with their writing really matters. So I think it's really important for them. Another consideration, if you have in class, you have face-to-face classes, is timed in-class writing. Give them a prompt and give them 15 minutes to write on it. This lets you see how they write, and this way when they're turning in something else through online or turn it in, you can compare the differences. They're writing about complex emotional experiences. A student's experience is their own. I know when I write and with the journal or when I use the journal for their writing, it does bring out a lot of stuff that they weren't even considering it. They just go on and on writing because they're comfortable enough. So keep in mind, AI cannot replicate that. It cannot replicate emotions. I've messed with AI for hours to try to get it what I wanted to say about my life story. And it failed every time. And I can tell you, our students are impatient. There is no way they will spend an hour trying to get AI to work to say something when they could have at that point written it themselves already. So just keep that in mind. Usually when it's always about ourselves, we tend to write a lot more and get a lot deeper. And it's also important for students to know that they matter, their words matter, how they feel matters. I'm just brought in an example of something I did last fall in my 1301 dual enrollment class. I actually purchased a year subscription to Pixton. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to continue this. Students loved it. So I asked them to create a digital storytelling project. I tend to make it a personal narrative when it was just an essay, but because I went a different route just to keep them busy, I gave them several options on the narrative of how they can make this comic strip come to life. And there are about a total for each project you complete, about 100 of these squares you have to complete. I had at least 8 students that went to a second set of comic strips just because they finished that first 100 and they had their story just kept going on. They were really, really into it. They loved it. I got so much feedback. And this is one of the projects that I gave them that in the end, I asked them to write a reflective essay of 350 words or more, telling me how they felt. Maybe less than 5 didn't like it and they would have preferred an essay, but out of a class of almost 75 students total with all 3 classes, the majority would definitely say they loved it and they couldn't believe that they could enjoy writing as much as they did. So just things to keep in mind. If you want to stay away from AI in your classroom, consider just personal engagement, consider topics on local context, make sure they're interacting with each other, and most importantly, creativity. That really is what helps our students grow as students, is letting them realize that they have control in what they write and what they do for our classes. That is it for me. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so I believe it is my turn to share. Okay, let's go ahead and share the. Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Okay, so some of my stuff is probably going to be more or less what you've already heard regarding AI and the honesty of AI. AI is essentially lying to you because AI can't tell the truth because AI doesn't know the truth from false statements. So you're probably all familiar with a hallucination. A hallucination occurs when AI generates a false statement and presents it as being true. And since AI is just an algorithm, it's just an advanced algorithm, it doesn't know what the truth is. That requires an actual conscious human being to be able to determine that. So what do we do about this? So we're going to go through a couple slides and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. So let's see. You can type in the chat box what your answer is. We're going to try to be quick because I believe we are running a little bit behind. So is 3/8 larger than 5/16? No? Yes? No? Okay. So here's the future of teaching math according to AI. No, 3/8 is not bigger than 5/16. 5/16 is actually larger than 3/8. No, okay, hold on. That's not true. Look at the explanation. The explanation is right, but you have to actually read what AI writes, and you actually have to know. So yeah, the explanation, yeah, makes sense. So you do have to have your common denominator, and then you can determine. But I mean, if you work with like tools and stuff, and that 3/8 is bigger than 5/16, um, usually like a ratchet set is already lined up small to large, but that requires you to be competent, right? And AI is not competent because it can't be competent. So yeah, 3/8 is definitely bigger than 5/16. So here's the next question. Does water freeze at 27 degrees? Oh, Fahrenheit. I should have put Fahrenheit in there, shouldn't I? I forget that some people don't use freedom units. Um, some people use that. Yeah, it's definitely the F. But yeah, if it said Fahrenheit and you said no, you would have gotten an F, right? Because water at will freeze at 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So who needs scientific literacy in 2025? The freezing temp and for water is 32 degrees. So anything below that. So AI doesn't really have like this idea or this knowledge or this understanding of like conditions or like directions and stuff. It can think that a larger number is going to be can have more meaning than a smaller number. But if we're talking about water freezing, right, anything under 32 degrees is going to freeze, right? Here we go. Let's see. Any geography people in here, right? You know the names of all the countries in the world. How many countries start with the letter B? 11. Okay. Is that a real number? Or are you just guessing? um, I just know one off the top of my head. Let's see. Venezuela, right? Okay. Well, unfortunately, there are none as of well, unless they came out in 2021 or after that. Yeah, there are no. Oh yeah, Vietnam. Yeah, there are no countries that start with the letter B. So yeah, they don't exist. So maybe Vietnam and Venezuela and these countries came out after 2021 when the AI when ChatGPT here was being trained. But yeah, I'm sorry to tell you all that there are no more countries that start with B. So right, all right, here's some fun ones. What are the health benefits of running with scissors? Yeah, you get your cardio, you cut faster. You don't have to suffer much longer if you trip and fall. Um, let's see. Yeah, so running with scissors is a cardio exercise that can increase your heart rate and require concentration and focus because you don't want to die. So here is the AI overview for that. Some say it can also improve your cores and give you strength. So that's pretty good, right? So I think AI is trying to kill us, and I think it's a race to the bottom. But we have to be careful that AI is going to give us bad exercise advice. All right, let's see. What are the health benefits of taking a bath with a toaster? Everyone in here wants a jacuzzi, right? A hot tub in their house, right? Wouldn't that be nice? I wish I had one. But apparently, a new life hack has just dropped, you know. Um, you can just get in your bathtub and throw the toaster in with you, and it will just gradually heat up the water. But just don't touch it while it's in the bath. So yeah, so just AI is just going to pull from all kinds of places, right? Here are a couple that I found. We all know this answer, right? But here is an example of AI just essentially just making stuff up. So if you are interested in making a lot of money through gambling, all you gotta do is just ask the AI overlords, um, what can we who's going to win, or what should my lottery ticket be. Yeah, it's just going to make stuff up because I believe the Kansas Chiefs did not win. But this was before the game that Google AI predicted. I mean, you're probably thinking like Google AI is garbage, right? Yeah, it really is. It's the worst. I don't trust anything it says. So did David Sterling survive World War II? Do we have any history people in here? Do we have any people who well, unfortunately, no, he did not. He got captured and spent the rest of the war in captivity. And then he died in 1990. It's just it's just kind of silly, right? This is why I've come up with some things, right? So what can we do about this? Okay. Because I guess AI is here to stay, whether I like it or not, or whether it's good for humanity. Educating students on the limitations of AI, that's the key, right? We do have to understand that AI is really it's not as advanced as people push it to be. It is not as good as people push it to be. It has limitations. I know that there's some examples that were highly inappropriate that I couldn't put here because they were vulgar. They were obscene. Um, and just the other day, I think on the 26th, I mean, Instagram was they basically fired a lot of the moderation and team that was monitoring the algorithm, so it started pushing birthing videos, gore videos, all kinds of terrible stuff to people. That's, there are a lot of problems with it. You have to have a human in the driver's seat. And that's what I tell my students. I say, if you want to use AI to just come up with ideas and stuff, and you just need somebody because you don't have any friends, yeah, go ahead. Use AI to spitball, but at the end of the day, you got to know. And you can design activities. I know that the history department does something that they have. I went to one of their things and they talked about they have a book or a chapter and they have the students use AI to summarize that chapter and then they go through and they basically fact check it. So that is an activity to illustrate hallucinations. Yeah, AI friends. Well, there was that AI that convinced that guy to kill himself, like what, last year or 2 years ago, I think. Um, that's crazy. But yeah, designing activities to illustrate this hallucination and this is going to be specific to your discipline, right? So if you're teaching math, right, obviously you would probably want to show that AI can't always answer the questions, or sometimes it can, but it doesn't completely hit the mark, right? If you're teaching history, if you have AI summarizing historical stuff, or if you're teaching science, you probably want to stay away from AI altogether. Who knows where that's going to go? But create lessons around this fact checking and then enforcing citations. And so Rosa, she talked about citations and sourcing in student work. This is absolutely vital. I mean, I know that Ashley talked about citing AI, but I think that's very dangerous. I mean, the person should be honest because integrity is important. I think, We definitely need that in the state of moral decline that we're in. But citing sources that have a realistic, like a real author, a peer review, and understanding where sources come from. And then we also have to become a subject matter expert to spot AI hallucinations. I think that's extremely important because I know that whenever uh, do with I deal with AI, or I mean, I deal with any of this stuff. I just can't do it because I'm too competent to have an assistant that is incompetent. And it just causes me more work to fact check every single thing that AI does. I'm usually a very quick reader, so whenever I Google something and I look at that quick little answer, I know it's usually just to remind myself about what the truth is. But can you really trust that? Am I just being lazy? Am I being a lazy person like my suit? So, anyways, um, yeah, I'm sick of grading AI too. And I just every time I look at it and I'm just like, well, another one. Okay, but anyways, just my last little activity. I mean, we can talk about in the Q&A, but think about some classroom activities that you would like to share with people, and type them out in the chat box. We can talk about them in Q&A if we have time. So that is pretty much all that I have for y'all. Hope you enjoyed.
All right. So I guess I will close this up. I think half the reason why our committee works well is we're pretty much on the same page on all of this. Um, I had volunteered to close it up with now AI deterrent practices, which is a little bit ironic since the whole reason why I joined this committee was because I had heard, well, we're thinking about banning AI. And I was like, no, we can't ban it. However, yes, over the semesters, as I've been experimenting and playing around with what kind of policies to implement, I'm definitely at a place where I feel like uh, we need to definitely balance it out. So, what I've hit so far is these 3 points that I really try to always make clear in my classroom, which is AI and the job market. My students are community college students who are there most often for being job market ready. And I think that the most impactful thing that I can always that I can offer them is to let them know AI will make people lose their jobs and enhance other people's jobs. And so if you get on the jump and have AI replace you now, then you're just getting ahead and letting AI eliminate you even sooner than necessary. That paired along with the whole reason why I teach English, is because I feel that writing is self-representation and that it is your best route to power in our society. And if you don't engage in that level of self-representation, then you reduce the amount of mobility that you're probably seeking with this whole education deal, right? All right, so the 4 things that I can't believe I brought back is for literally, I've been teaching for over 20 years, probably going on 25. Um, I thought I was done with paper and pen. I was like, thank goodness, reading that tiny handwriting, and it was arduous. I was like, no, I can't do this. However, I brought back in notebooks. So not only are they required to bring a notebook for class notes, but they are also required to bring loose leaf paper because, yeah, we're going back to in class. Now, though, of course, I'm all about make that handwriting big, double space. Only bring a pen, don't bring me pencils. That's actually more to do with my whole philosophy that we shouldn't be afraid of errors, and writing is all about saying it wrong so that you can fix it and say it right. Um, okay, I'm gonna have to. We are not gonna have much time for Q&A. Let me get through this real fast, y'all. I will leave a link for the whole presentation. No cell phones. So no electronics. I do allow and I do like incorporating AI with my classroom work, but for the most part, I have the cell phones on a counter or on a table. I'm not taking it, I don't touch it, but they are getting rid of it. This is actually most effective for my dual enrollment students. And no laptops. I call it the ADHD blocker. Um, all right, so there's what I'm trying to go back to, the 80s. I mean, what can I say? I'm a Gen Xer. This is what I can't handle when I'm in the middle of lecturing, and I know that absolutely nobody has any clue as to what's coming out of my mouth. I could probably announce that the apocalypse is coming. Nobody would say anything. On the other hand, uh, AI is coming, and these are just some quotes I really liked. I actually love the last one. Before we work on artificial intelligence, why don't we do something about natural stupidity? Um, so the point I'm trying to make about AI is that it can really help us, but it can also hurt us. Um, Two quick, they're on the exact same theme of AI assignments is for my 1301 dumpster fire. I call it the dumpster fire essay. Technically, it's called the I think objective, report. So we pick a controversy and we have everybody write both sides of the issue. But I always tell them that a great thing to do with AI, you can't depend on it. I definitely go through the same thing Alex just went through. Like this, AI is your ultimate garbage collector. And you can, I mean, unless you want to spend four times more fact checking, don't even go there, right? But try using AI as a good simulator. I always say with my dual enrollment, simulate, tell AI to pretend it's your parent, and then run some like, Mom, Dad, you should let me take the car out on Saturday nights because, and then simulate, see what you can do to hone up your rhetorical skills, right? And that's the same concept with the proposal essay. Some AI college courses that I would love to see: AI debate and opposition simulation, which is what I just talked about, generative AI prompt engineering. Honestly, I think that's an English department possibility. Then we've got AI level composition rhetoric in practicing how to write these essays using AI in a way that's not going to cripple you. AI ethics and business practices, obviously, and AI entrepreneurship. So these are all just quick ideas. My final remarks is Gen AI is a chainsaw that can cut through lots of tedious work, but can also ultimately cripple you if you use it incorrectly. Um, that's very much because this past barrel, for the first time ever, we had to use a chainsaw. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is frightening. And it reminded me of AI. It is our responsibility to prepare our students for the competitive world. Therefore, despite the dangers of AI, it is my task to muddle through all the messiness of figuring out where AI fits into my pedagogical objectives and where AI needs to be eliminated as an obstacle to my students' successful learning experiences. So in closing, I think that our overall committee message to y'all is we just we want to acknowledge that AI is a complicated tool. It's messy, but it's incredibly helpful to not discount it, but at the same time to understand just how sloppy and dangerous it is as well. Thank you so much for your attention. I believe we have about 5 minutes for some Q&A. I want to acknowledge some questions. Let me scroll all the way back up here. So I see a lot of great posts in here, and I know that we can all put in our presentation PowerPoint links. Let me see if do we have any questions? I see Vietnam. Yes, Vietnam was a V country. Please do scroll through these comments. There's a lot of good material here. So it looks like we all have some really good pointers, classroom pointers on how to approach this. Please feel free to raise your hand like this if you would like to jump in and share something with us. I am reading Denise's excerpt from a student paper.
True story.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share our colleague, Carrie Hatfield. I don't know if Carrie's here, but she shared with us how what she'll do is in the essay prompt in invisible ink, maybe white, she will include in the prompt something like, the essay will be right on a controversial issue, the both sides evenly and objectively, but then inside it'll be like, and discuss the analytics of dragon warfare. And so when they run that through AI, they don't know that that's what AI is getting, and then it's your little Trojan horse checker. I just thought that was brilliant. Not my idea,
Yes.
but
Great.
absolutely brilliant. I loved it. So any other thoughts that we have here? Let me see. Oh, wow. So Cindy's saying that students were catching that. Wow. Um, that's hilarious. I guess the white does come out when you're pasting it in there. I haven't tried it. Um, like I said, I literally have my students do in-class drafts of their body paragraphs or whatever essay that we're working on. Then I tell them at the end of class, you can go to the counter and take a picture of it, and then you can type it up at home. So now what I have is the off-the-cuff, in-class, no electronic device assisted writing, but then they have to turn in their typed up copies to Blackboard. Now I have a comparison, right? This is what they said in class, and then suddenly if they sound like they came straight out of, AI, the contrast is pretty obvious. And generally, when I say, how come this looks completely different from this? I generally get oh, well, I used AI to fix my spelling. I'm like, this ain't spelling changes. And they generally, say, okay, I'm really sorry about that. I have definitely gotten less AI essays. I think, though, that has a lot to do with no cell phones and no laptops in the classroom. I think it's a mindset that encourages them just stay away from that stuff. I do encourage them 100%. I tell them my teaching philosophy is learning is not perfect, and K through 12 taught us to be afraid of writing crap or making mistakes or getting a low score. But you guys got to understand writing just doesn't work that way. It is inherently supposed to be bad in the beginning. So that is kind of my goal, is to always reduce um, that toxic level of anxiety that students have about getting it right or getting 100% right off the bat, because I do think that that's very corrosive to learning, and I'm actually pretty horrified that that's what a lot of K through 12 is based on. So I'm not criticizing generally teachers, just it's the entire system that gets lost in all of this, assignments that we have to work on, and then we forget how the students are processing this. So that's what I got to say. Let me see. Replace all the periods with short words at the smallest size font. I love these. Um, yeah, if you used, and I noticed that all students nowadays use dark mode, and their little windows are this big anyways, and my 50-year-old eyes can never see what the heck they're saying. But can you help me with this? I can't see it, honey. All right, so like I said, I guess we all had more to say than we planned on. I'm looking for some more questions, but I'm just going to drop here my email. And anyone is absolutely free to contact me anytime, as well as I'm sure our committee, that's what we're here for. We really would like to encourage that everybody feel free to have a conversation with us, because this is what we want to do. We want to really put our finger on complete chaotic mess of what we're all trying to sift through here.
Well, thank you very much, AI Group. We really appreciate everything you guys had to offer. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and end our recording. So thanks, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you guys later in the conference.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.